You can scroll for an hour, clean your room, rearrange your plans. But the moment it's time to do the thing you actually care about, you freeze. Not because it's hard, not because you don't want it, because if someone saw you trying, they might see you fail, and that hits something deeper than laziness. Stay with that discomfort for a second, because the real reason you avoid starting isn't what you've been told. And when you finally name it, your behavior starts to make sense. You tell yourself you'll start after one more video, after you feel ready, after you clean up first, after you learn a little more. But your brain doesn't choose random delays. It chooses times, safe times delays. So you end up doing tasks that feel productive, but don't risk your identity. You answer emails quickly. You help other people. You research. You plan. You even buy supplies. Yet the real thing, the application, the channel, the novel, the gym, the hard conversation stays untouched. And the worst part is the self-talk. You call yourself lazy, undisciplined, a procrastinator. But underneath that label is a quiet fear. If I try seriously, I'll find out what I'm worth. That fear changes how you move through your life. You choose goals you can abandon. You keep dreams private, so they can't be judged. You avoid asking for feedback. You disappear when you start improving, because improvement makes you visible. Even your relationships get shaped by it. You downplay what you want. You act like you're just messing around. You keep an exit open because being seen trying means being seen caring, and being seen caring is risky. So here's the question that matters. Why would your brain treat times effort times like danger? We'll answer that. But first, we need to remove the word lazy from the story. You're not broken. You're adapted. Somewhere along the way, your mind learned a rule. It's safer to look effortless than to look human. For some people, that rule forms in school. If you tried hard and still got laughed at, your brain paired effort with humiliation. For others, it formed at home. If you were praised only when you performed well, your brain learned love equals outcome. Or maybe you were the smart one. So your identity became, I'm naturally good, which sounds like a compliment, until you realize what it costs. If your worth comes from being naturally good, then trying becomes evidence you're not. Effort becomes a threat. So your mind protects you. The only way it knows how. It avoids the moment where your identity could be tested. Not because you don't care, but because you care so much. That failing would feel like being exposed, and the pattern continues until you learn what's actually happening in your brain. That mechanism is quieter than anxiety, more subtle than fear, but it runs your decisions. Your brain doesn't just avoid pain, it avoids time, status loss, asterisk. In social psychology, humans are wired to track belonging and rank because for most of our history, being rejected wasn't just sad, it was dangerous. So the brain built a system for it, a threat detector that watches for social risk. And one of the biggest social risks is this: public failure after visible effort. Because visible effort sends a signal, I wanted this. If you fail after wanting it, the brain predicts a specific kind of pain. Shame. Shame isn't just feeling bad. It's the emotion of being seen as less than. It's relational. It's identity-based. Now here's the cognitive science piece. When you might do something that could trigger shame, your brain runs a prediction. It asks, what happens if I try and it goes badly? If the predicted cost is high, your nervous system shifts into protective mode. Not always panic, often avoidance. This is why procrastination can feel strangely calming. Because procrastination isn't just delay, it's negative reinforcement. You avoid the task, your shame threat drops, you feel relief, and your brain learns. Avoidance works. It's like your mind is a smoke alarm, not a judge. And sometimes it's set too sensitive. Here's a simple mental model. Asterisk. Asterisk. The glass elevator. Asterisk. Asterisk. Imagine your goal is at the top floor. The elevator is made of glass. Everyone can see inside. If you go up and the elevator gets stuck, you're visible, trying, trapped. So instead of riding it, you stand in the lobby and keep preparing. Not because you don't want the top floor, because you don't want the glass. That's the contradiction. You want the outcome, but you fear the visibility of effort. So you choose a third option. Asterisk, private, potential. Asterisk, potential feels safe because it can't be evaluated. If you never fully try, you never have to fully know. And that's the loop we're going to break. Without forcing fake confidence. But the way out isn't try harder. It's changing what your brain thinks effort means. Let's do that carefully. Before starting, finish this sentence. I'm not avoiding the task. I'm avoiding examples. Being judged. Finding out I'm average. Proof I'm not special. Someone seeing me care. Asterisk, asterisk. Why it works in the brain. Asterisk, asterisk. Labeling emotions reduces limbic reactivity and increases prefrontal control. When you name the threat, your brain stops treating it like a vague predator in the dark. It becomes the specific object you can respond to. Asterisk, asterisk. Real life example. Asterisk, asterisk. You're about to apply for a job. Your hand hovers over. Submit, you whisper. I'm avoiding rejection that feels personal. Suddenly, the task is not a mystery. It's a fear with a name. And once it's named, you can negotiate with it. But negotiation requires a second step because your identity is still on the line. Pick one neutral, observable metric that is times not times talent-based. Time, repetitions, or attempts. Not make it good. Not prove I'm capable. Just do 20 minutes. Write 200 words. Record one rough take. Asterisk, asterisk. Why it works in the brain. Asterisk, asterisk. You're shifting from ego involvement to process focus. In cognitive terms, you reduce self-referential processing, the mental loop, where everything becomes about who you are. Process metrics give the brain a clear, low-shame target. Asterisk, asterisk. Real-life example. Asterisk, asterisk. Instead of make a great video, you do. Write a messy one, 0. Line outline. Your brain can tolerate messy. It can't tolerate identity judgment. But even with neutral metrics, visibility can still trigger you. So we add a layer that makes effort safer. Create a closed room stage for your work. A period where no one sees it, comments on it, or evaluates it. You choose when the door opens. Asterisk, asterisk. Why it works in the brain. Asterisk, asterisk. This is graded exposure. But with control, one of the key ingredients that reduces threat responses. When you choose the dose of visibility your nervous system learns. I can try without immediate social risk. Asterisk, asterisk. Real life example. Asterisk, asterisk. If you want to draw, you do 14 days of drawings that you times don't post. Asterisk. If you want to start the gym, you do 2 weeks where you go at a quiet time. Not forever, just long enough for your brain to learn. Effort is not equal to danger. Now you've reduced threat. But one problem remains. Your brain still believes that trying creates a permanent record, so we change your relationship with attempts. Keep a simple log titled asterisk asterisk attempts I survived asterisk asterisk. Every time you do the scary effort, write one line. Not what you achieved, just that you showed up. Your memory system is biased toward threat and embarrassment. It stores proof that protects you. By recording survivals, you're feeding the brain new prediction data. I can be seen trying and remain okay. This changes future avoidance because avoidance is driven by prediction. You submit a pitch. No reply. Old story. I'm not good enough. New log entry. Sent pitch anyway. Didn't die. Still me. That sounds simple. But the brain learns from repetition, not speeches. There's one final step, because eventually you will have to be seen. But you can choose how times you're seen. Tell yourself this is a prototype, a first version designed to teach you something. Then ask one question. What is this version for feedback, practice, or proof? Never choose proof. Asterisk, asterisk. Why it works in the brain. Asterisk, asterisk. Performance mode activates evaluation, anxiety, and self-monitoring. Prototype mode activates learning orientation, a state where mistakes become information instead of identity damage. This shifts you from threat circuitry toward exploratory behavior. You record a first voiceover. You don't call it your real start. You call it Prototype 1. You learn. Pacing is too fast. Tone is flat. That's not shame. That's data. Now the task isn't a courtroom. It's a lab. And in a lab, trying is normal. Which brings us to the integration. The one model you'll carry with you. Asterisk, asterisk, you aren't avoiding work. You're avoiding exposure. Asterisk, asterisk. Your brain thinks visible effort risks shame, so it offers you relief through delay. To change the pattern, you don't argue with your brain. You update its predictions. You do that by naming the threat precisely, measuring effort neutrally, practicing privately on purpose, logging attempts you survive, treating early work as prototypes, not verdicts. Think of it like recalibrating that smoke alarm. You're not removing it. You're lowering the sensitivity, so steam doesn't feel like a fire. And the strange thing is, once effort stops, meaning public judgment, your energy comes back, not as hype, as permission, because you're no longer protecting an image. You're protecting a process, and processes can grow quietly. If you've been calling yourself lazy, notice how heavy that word feels in your chest. Lazy isn't a diagnosis. It's usually a misunderstanding of a brain that learned to stay safe by staying untestable. But you don't have to live inside untested forever. You can let yourself be a person who tries, not as a performance, as a practice. And the next time you feel that familiar freeze, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask the gentler, more accurate question. What am I afraid people would learn about me if they saw me trying? Because the moment you can answer that, you're no longer trapped in the lobby. You're finally holding the elevator button, not to prove anything, just to go up.